Senator Whitmer.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise today to call on Governor Snyder to use the state's rainy day fund and provide emergency funding to Buena Vista schools so that they can reopen and ensure students there are not left behind. You see, the governor and the Republican majority in the legislature have made drastic cuts to our public schools over the last few years. And this is just the latest example of the devastating impact that they're having on our kids. Buena Vista Schools has laid off employees, shuttered their windows, locked their students out because they simply cannot afford to keep running. And I got to tell you, as a parent of kids who are in elementary school and who is taking in iced tea to thank our teachers during this Teacher Appreciation Week, it's a sad irony that the teachers of Buena Vista Schools offered to continue working without pay so those kids were not left behind. And yet the doors had to be closed. How can the governor and legislators stand idly by while this happens? What kind of a message does it send to their kids, the parents there? What does it say to the world? That we've got a rainy day fund we won't tap into when these kids need our help the most. Our state's Constitution guarantees each and every child in Michigan the right to an education. But the kids in Buena Vista Township schools have been left out and forced to stay home. I know the governor and his Republican colleagues, his skunk works operatives, and his corporate cronies hate the idea of a free education and public schools. But it is deplorable that he would turn his back on a school and kids in such dire need. The governor has the power to use the rainy day fund dollars and immediately open Buena Vista Township schools, and I urge him to do so. He needs to prove to these kids and their families that their education, their futures, are every bit as important as those in other school districts around the state. The governor has not been shy about pouring millions of dollars in recent months into his Education Achievement Authority pet project, stealing from our public schools to do so in an attempt to make believe that it's a success. Well, if the governor is willing to hand out money hand over fist to his flagging EAA experiment, he should step up and use his authority to reopen a school in dire need. And we should all be stepping up to help Buena Vista Township schools and the students they serve. Let the people of the Saginaw area and Buena Township know that at least the Democrats are standing up and trying to help them. But the Republicans, nothing. Crickets. Are you going to put your Wall Street friends and credit rating before the kids of this area who desperately need our help? Your silence says that's exactly the choice you're making. I ask that my comments be printed in the Journal.